Hey guys, so I wanted to do a quick little comparison here between Vernee Mix 2, bezel-less wonder here for under €200 versus iPhone X10, whatever you want to call it here, the very expensive trinket on the right. So we're just going to do a comparison of the performance and have a look at the screens. How do you compare? So obviously Vernee is coming with a slightly bigger screen here, but I think in terms of the actual quality, you are going to be getting the OLED on the iPhone, which will look a little bit more vibrant, shall we say, and better in terms of viewing angles. But you will be paying 4 times as much for that. I mean, compared to the previous handset, the Vernee definitely feels much more refined than what we were putting out a year ago. You know, it feels like flagship level build quality here. The screen's a little bit less bright than I would like it to be. As you can see, it is on the max brightness here, but looking at it head on, it's not too much of an issue. We just wanted to check the performance then, so we're just going to close everything down. And there's one thing that I do know with the Vernee already is that it's much easier to use as a phone than the iPhone 10. So that could be something to consider. So open up some gaming apps. Also, you don't get that annoying notch at the top. You can see the app is going all the way to the top here, which is quite nice compared to the iPhone. But I think the iPhone does have the raw speed here in terms of these apps. But I do prefer the way you can come out of the app just by basically pressing a button here, as opposed to all this malarkey. Let's have a look at your web browsing. So web browsing is always a very delicious experience here when you have a full screen, no bezel. Let's try UVC. It's a little bit slower on the left there, but you know, I can live with that. It's very you know, decent score here in terms of the speed, if you ask me. Let's just try a Wi-Fi as well, speed test. So both run the same, and let's go. In the settings, you'll find a lot of different features on the Vernee, such as like this boost mode thing, which I don't even know what it does, but we can have a look at that. And the Wi-Fi, let's have a look. I'm guessing this will be a quite modest score. MediaTek processor, P25. I don't think they specialise in raw speed, but as long as it's over 100, you know, I'm happy. And you can see, yes, it just meets that. So very good performance price to performance ratio. That's what I'm looking for here. And let's just have a look at the settings here, what we're getting. So in the settings, we can see there is something called Duraspeed. That's what I was looking at. So it helps foreground app boosting, restricting background apps. So that sounds pretty technical. You can see it's got some nice stuff going on there in the background. And what else can we have a look at? Oh, there's something else there. Motion gestures, flip to mute, screenshots are quite standard stuff there. Buttons, and the status bar you can see nice and customizable. It does actually have your updates as well. Check that it's fully up to date. So they are going to keep the phone up to date. And the battery seems to be epic at the moment. It's 4000 mAh. You won't have to charge it very much. So, you know, in terms of the value to performance proposition here, I think it's a really nice phone. Obviously, it's not going to be quite as good as your flagship, which costs, you know, 4 or 5 times the price, but I've got to say they really upped their game here in terms of the build quality. Nearly as good as the Honor phones. In fact, I would say it's actually as good. They do need to implement Type-C, for future-proofing. I'm not sure why everyone's going with the old type USB charging, probably a cost-cutting measure, but at least they're giving you a headphone jack and a fingerprint scanner, which you don't get on the latest iPhones. So yeah, just a quick comparison here between the Vernee Mix 2 and the iPhone 10. If you've got any questions, let me know. Hope you find it helpful.